All right, so in this tutorial, we are going to see what are the tools we need to have set up in our PCs in order to prepare and get ready for the cybersecurity lab. And so I want to quickly jump into the different tools and also be showing you the website where we can get these tools downloaded real quick. Okay, so let's get started. So here, I'm going to quickly give you an overview. So building a cybersecurity lab, there are different virtualization technologies. And virtualization technology allows us to run another system, like another operating system, on our physical operating system. So you've got a laptop and you probably have Windows 10 operating system running on it, or you have maybe Mac OS X, or you have Windows 11 OS running on it. It's actually possible to have other systems installed on top of this your physical system. And the reason being that you want to be able to have practice sessions on using the real or live operating systems, then get used to the commands that are used in these fields. I will be using VirtualBox here. And it depends really. We have VMware. We are not going to be using VMware in this course. And you can also use Microsoft Hyper-V as a matter of fact. So Microsoft Hyper-V is also another option. So this time around, we're going to use VirtualBox. And so how do we get VirtualBox downloaded? So just bring up my browser here. And to get VirtualBox downloaded is very straightforward. You go to virtualbox.org and then hit the enter key. And you can see here we have downloads. And when you click on downloads, you're going to see VirtualBox. We actually have version 7.8, 7.0.8. And we have for different platforms. We have for Linux distributions, we have for Windows, and then Mac OS X. So if you want, already you have Windows running on your system, so you could click on Windows host, and it's going to get that guy downloaded. All right, so once that is downloaded, you also have to scroll down and come over here. You see VirtualBox extension pack. And so what does extension pack do? Well, it's going to help us to make use of USB drives on our virtual machines. So it's going to help our virtual machines to be able to pick up the USB drives that we have connected on our physical machine, which is our laptop. And so once you click on all supported platform, the VirtualBox extension pack is also going to be downloaded. Please, once the download of VirtualBox is completed, go ahead and double click on that guy and follow the instructions on the screen and get VirtualBox set up. And once you are done setting up VirtualBox, go ahead and double click on Oracle VirtualBox extension pack and also get that guy installed. And when you are done with the installation, you are going to have something like this. So here, this is my VirtualBox, and this actually is my lab. And so I've got a couple of machines here. I could decide to select this Windows Server 2016 operating system and click on start, and the machine boots up, ask me for username and password. I put those there, and then I'm in, and I could use that machine to practice all the skills. So I've got Ubuntu server and a couple of other machines here. So by the time you launch your VirtualBox, you're not going to see any machine showing here. But then don't worry, I'm going to show you how you can set up these machines. So I've got a Windows 10 operating system somewhere here. So I got a Windows 10. Can't see that guy. Okay, so that's it, yeah. So this is Windows 10 machine. I've also got Windows 7 machine. But then the question is, where do we go to on the web to get all these operating system downloaded? Well, I want to go back to my browser now. And let's start based on what we have on the whiteboard. We've already seen how to download VirtualBox as well as VirtualBox extension pack and get them installed. Just double click on those guys and follow the instructions. It's probably next, and then install. After that, launch that guy, VirtualBox, and then we've got to get our first operating system and have it installed on the VirtualBox. Our first operating system, Parrot. Now, this operating system will be used in the cybersecurity class. So mostly for pen testing, ethical hacking, we're going to be using these two major Linux distribution, Parrot operating system, and of course, Kali Linux operating system. But the question is, where do we get to on the internet to download Parrot as well as Kali, and then how do we set them up on our PC? So let's see how to do that. First off, we'll start with Parrot. Now to download Parrot, simply go to your browser and go to parrotsec.org. So it takes you to this place. So you could see the download icon here. You could also donate to support this project. So click on download, and we'll have a variety of options here. So make sure that the Parrot that you are downloading is the security edition. So there is home edition, we'll have the edition for Hack the Box, cloud edition. Make sure that you download Security Edition. So don't download the Home Edition. And by default, we're already on Security Edition. So you can see here where my mouse is. And this is Security Edition, a special purpose operating system designed for pen testers, penetration tests, as well as red team operations. So all we do is just click on download, and we can download an ISO file. So an ISO file is what you would download if you want to maybe put this guy into a CD or a DVD and then install it straight up in one of your PCs. Okay, we are not going to download this type because we want to run this Parrot operating system on top of our physical laptop. On your laptop, you probably have Windows 11, and you want to run this Parrot on top of that Windows 11, which is the reason why we have installed VirtualBox. So if I go back here again, you're going to see we already have a VirtualBox, and so we can always minimize the VirtualBox to make use of our physical machine. And when we want to use a Parrot, we'll bring up the VirtualBox. Okay, so in order to have it this way, we're going to download the Parrot for VirtualBox. Okay, so we're not going to download the ISO. Just click on VirtualBox AMD64, and it's going to get that guy downloaded. So I'm going to let this guy run, and then once it's downloaded, so this is going to take quite some time because here the size of the Parrot is 5.9 gig. So what about the next operating system that we're going to be using in the cybersecurity lab setup? We are going to be using Kali operating system. So how do we get Kali? Go online once again, offensivesecurity.com. That's where we get Kali downloaded. Offensivesecurity.com. So I was thinking I've already opened up offensivesecurity.com. It appears I've not opened that guy up. So here we're going to type offensive-security.com. Hit the enter key. It takes us to this web page where we can get our Kali Linux. So here we go to Kali and community, and then we go to Kali Linux. And then it opens up a new page. And on this page, we are going to select the option for virtual machines. And when I click on virtual machines, it's going to ask us what type of virtualization product we are using. Of course, the virtualization product we are using to run multiple operating systems on our system is VirtualBox. So it means that the Kali we'll be downloading is the one for VirtualBox. Click on the download icon here. This guy is almost 3 gig, and get it downloaded. All right. So that's how we can download Parrots as well as Kali operating system. Then there is one more operating system, or actually two, because we'll be running Windows 10 in our lab, and we also want to be running a web application, a web server that will allow us the opportunity to practice website hacking, website pen testing, etc. And so we're going to go to OWASP. So let's see how we can download this web server application. And once again, I'm going to go to the web, and this is the website. So we've got to go to sourceforge.net/projects/OWASP-WA. So it takes us to this place, and what we can do here is to click on Files. So you can see Files here, and the Files tab, once it opens, we are going to select the OWASP, Broken Web Application, and get that guy downloaded. So let's just hang on for this particular page to pop up. And once the page comes up, we are going to, I'll show you which of the files that you are going to download. Okay, so finally the page has opened, and what we can do here is to click on, you could see downloads. So we've got over 2,000 downloads on this version 1.2. So click on this folder, and once that guy opens, we should be able now to select this particular one here. This is an OVA file format. There's also a zipped format of the file, which means that if that is downloaded, you've got to unzip it. So this is OWASP Broken Web App. So this guy has got websites that are running on it that will enable us to practice website hacking. And so this is 2.6 gig. So just click on this link here, and the guy should start downloading. So that's how we can get it downloaded. And now, if all of these tools or these operating systems have been downloaded, how are we going to set them up in our Kali Linux? So I'm actually going to cancel this, don't want to download it. So how to set them up? Very straightforward. So I'm going to bring up my VirtualBox. All right, so let's start up with Parrot, because Parrot was the first operating system we downloaded. So how do we set up Parrot? So what we need to do basically is to go to the location where the Parrot is downloaded. So I'm going to navigate to where I have my Parrot. So actually I have Parrot operating system already downloaded, and I have it inside my resources. So I'm going to check this folder, resources, and I'm going to get my Parrot. All right, so this is the resources folder, which I've got sitting on my desktop. And you see I have Kali Linux, and I've also got Parrot. So if you want to get this guy installed, let's start with Parrot. Just double click on Parrot, and it's going to launch inside of our VirtualBox. All right, so this is the guy here. So he's going to ask you to import it. So as an appliance, and the moment I click on import, and I have to click on I agree with the license terms, is going to get this guy imported. And once the guy is imported, we can go ahead and power it on. So it's very straightforward. So I already have got Parrot here. Well, let's just wait for this to finish importing. Same thing applies to Kali. When we have downloaded it, you just have to navigate to the location and double click on the Kali itself, and it's going to once again do exactly the same way that Parrot did. It's going to open up inside our VirtualBox platform, and we're going to click on import, and we'll have to accept the agreement. All right. So go ahead and do this. After you are done downloading those operating systems, they have been imported into this environment, your VirtualBox. All you need to do is select that particular machine and click on start. So you could see my Kali Linux 2023.2 VirtualBox AMD64 currently is powered off. So I could hit the start button, and the Kali comes up. Username is Kali and password is Kali. So you'll be able to log into that operating system. So same thing applies to the OWASP. So the OWASP, which is the web server, can also be done same way. So first thing first, make sure you have downloaded VirtualBox as well as VirtualBox extension pack, have them installed on your PC, and then get Kali imported, get Parrot imported, and also get your OWASP imported. And the last thing I'm going to show you is Windows operating system. So if you've also got Windows, like we'll be using Windows 10, and I have a Windows 10 here. So this is an ISO file. Well, in Windows, there are a lot of licensing terms and all that. So it's not something I can share the link here. But you can get a trial version of Windows, maybe Windows 10, a trial version that you can use. But I have an ISO here, an ISO file from Windows 10, and I'm going to show you how you can get Windows 10 installed. It's entirely different from the way you install Kali, OWASP, as well as Parrot. So you cannot get this guy imported. Rather, you are going to install it manually. So I'm going to bring up my VirtualBox. Okay, so this is my VirtualBox, and by the way, my Parrot OS has been imported as well, and you can see my Kali is running. So I just imported the Kali and power it on. Username by default is Kali, and password by default is Kali, and I should be into that device. This is my Kali. This is the nice colorful background, and this is my terminal. This is my Firefox browser and all that. So I could open up terminal and begin to manage this operating system. So this is a machine. It should also, as long as my physical laptop has got an internet connection, this guy should also be able to reach internet. So let's ping google.com. All right, so you can see google.com is going. So you can also gain access to the internet and all that. How do we set up Windows? So you see here, I've already got Windows 10 machine, but how did I set this guy up? So you've got to click on New on your VirtualBox application, and here let's name it Windows 10. Okay, Windows 10 backup, so that the name doesn't conflict with the name of my actual Windows 10 here. Okay, so make sure that on the type of operating system, you leave it on Microsoft Windows. And on the type of Microsoft Windows is Windows 10 64-bit. So don't change anything here, just give it a name. You go to next, and here you need to specify how many gig of RAM you want to take from your laptop's memory and allocate to this machine. By default, it's taking 2048 MB, which simply means 2 gig, okay, of memory. So let me reduce this guy to 1024 MB, which is 1 gig. So I'm going to go to next. I'm going to be creating a virtual hard disk. So it means that we're going to take some space from the physical hard disk of your laptop, and that space will be allocated to this machine, and that's where the operating system of this machine will be installed. And then we'll click on create. We're going to leave it on VDI, which is VirtualBox disk image. Go to next. And instead of leaving it on dynamic, we're going to put it on fixed. Dynamic meaning that anytime your virtual machine is running out of space, is going to take more space from your laptop's physical hard drive without even your consent. but fixed meaning that whatever amount of hard drive space we put in here, the machine can never exceed it. So 15 gig is sufficient to run a Windows 10 PC or operating system. So we'll go to create, and we'll eventually be cutting out that 15 gig hard disk space from my laptop's hard disk space and be allocating it to this virtual Windows 10 operating system. All right, so let's wait for the creation of this hard disk to complete. And finally, the creation of the hard disk has completed, and you can see at the left-hand side here, I have Windows 10 backup. This Windows 10 here is the one I already have, and we just created this one now, and it's powered off. So we're going to click on Start to power it on, and we'll wait for the window to come up where we finalize the installation of the machine. Okay, so that's how to create a Windows machine on this VirtualBox environment. But then if you are creating Parrot, Kali Linux, as well as OWASP, you necessarily don't need to do it this way. You might want to do it this way, but if you have virtual images, which is the type of images we downloaded, you just need to make an import. Just double click on those files and import them into this platform, the VirtualBox, then go ahead and power them on. All right, so this guy comes up and asks us, where is the Windows 10 operating system that we want to install? So we've got to click on this icon here to browse to our system, and I've got to click on Add, and my Windows 10 operating system is located on my desktop. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to be looking for a document, my flash, and inside my flash, I'm going to open resources, and I have server administration, and I've got Windows 10 here. Select the Windows 10 and click on choose, and go ahead and start the machine. So now we've got an operating system that this Windows 10 is going to use to boot up. And so it's going to go through this process of normal Windows installation, as if the same process you go through when you're installing it on a physical hardware. All right, so this is the Windows icon. So the machine is powering on. And eventually it's going to present us with the option of language selection, keyboard, etc. And once those options are selected and we have accepted the licensing agreement of Microsoft, then we'll go ahead and get this guy installed. Okay, so there we go. So we have a window now, and we'll just leave it at the default. Keyboard is US, English is US, so everything US. Go to next, install now. So it's going to present us with a page to install a particular edition of Windows 10 operating system. So we are going to be selecting Windows 10 Professional. That is the type we want to install. And we're also going to make sure that we accept the licensing terms, Microsoft licensing agreement, and then we'll get this guy installed. Okay, so I'm just going to say I don't have a product key now because it's going to ask me for product key. I don't have it for now. And then we select Windows 10 Pro, which is the professional edition of Windows 10. We'll go to next. And then it comes up and show us the 15 gig hard disk space that we have already carved out from our laptop's physical hard disk. Already we'll have to, as I mentioned earlier, we need to accept the licensing terms and select custom. And this is the 15 gig we have taken away from our laptops. Maybe your laptop is 1 terabyte, I don't know. So go to next, and that's it. So this machine is going to start installing, and when it finishes installation, it's going to ask us to provide a username and password that we'll be using to log into the system subsequently. And that's pretty much how to set up these labs. Download your Kali, download your Parrot, and as well download your Windows 10 ISO, your OWASP web server, and get OWASP Parrot Kali imported into your VirtualBox, and Windows 10 is the only one you have to install differently, just as I've shown in this video. All right, so after that, we need to network all these systems. So what do we mean? So I don't want this video to go beyond 30 minutes. So we've got to go to File, and we go to Preferences, and we're going to click on Network. When you come here in your own VirtualBox, this place will be blank. So you're going to click on this plus sign, the top one, to create a NAT network. So you can see now I have NAT network 1 because I already have a NAT network. So I'm going to remove this guy because I already have it. I'm only showing you how you can create a NAT network. And a NAT network will act as a virtual switch that will tie up all these devices together. For instance, I want to go to this Windows 10 and go to Settings. And from Settings, we go to Network, and we'll make sure that we'll put it on NAT network. And if I want this Windows 10 to talk with this server, I've also got to go to the server and go to Settings and select Network and also put it on NAT network. So what that means is that my Windows 10 machine and my Windows Server operating system are both connected to NAT network, which simply means that they are connected to the same switch, which means that if given IP addresses, they should be able to talk to each other. All right, so all the machines that you are going to have here, you need them to be able to communicate to each other, as well as use your laptop's internet connection to also gain access to the internet. You need to make them join the NAT network. Note that you have to create the NAT network first. And that will be it in this tutorial. So I hope you should be able to set up your own lab and you'll be able to enjoy this training, especially when it comes to hands-on. Thank you for watching and see you in the class proper.